of Liberians in and out of Liberia by sharing their successes, challenges, entrepreneur endeavors, and much more with the intent to inspire other upcoming changemakers. The 1847 show also promotes the Liberian culture by creating a space for individuals to learn the history of our nation, to find solutions to problems that affect our country today. For this and much more, stay tuned for all things Liberian. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hello, my name is Grace Joma Baba, founder of Destiny Creative Organization and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Hi guys, I'm Levine and I'm an independent artist from Liberia, West Africa. And being an independent artist means I get to run my own affairs, sponsor my own music, pick my own release dates. So, not to waste your time, I'm gonna go straight to the point. I'm trying to raise $5,000 to promote 2 songs over a 3-month time span. And I'm asking that you help out in any way you can. One of the songs are playing in the background right now, so that means you're one of the first persons to hear this. The proceedings are not just going to go to the promotion of these songs, it's going to go to helping the underprivileged in any way I can. And everything is going to be filmed and posted on my social media. So please help out. Thank you.
You got something that I need, baby. You bring light to my soul. Nobody does it like I do. You already know. Can't get enough of that.
Welcome back. You're watching the 1847 show, and this is season 1, episode 16, which is part of our series called Enhancing Education. This series highlights visionaries who are dedicated to solving real-world challenges by leveraging innovative educational solutions. We delve into the myriad benefits that education enhancement brings, from the evolution of teaching and learning methods to the recognition of those making monumental impacts within our educational sector. Whether you're a student, a lifelong learner, an educator, or an advocate for quality education, Enhancing Education offers a window into the future of learning and its power to empower individuals in our nation, Liberia. Our guest today is Mr. Isaac Muapoh, whose dedication to his country and passion for education have ignited transformative change. As John F. Kennedy famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Our guest, Isaac Muapoh, embodies this call to action by exemplifying the urgency to lead progressive initiatives that promote national development, all while emphasizing the pivotal role of education as the bedrock for such progress. We're going to welcome our guest, but before we do, and you got to remember, you have to start subscribing, sharing, liking, commenting to stay engaged throughout the stream. So right now, we're going to welcome our guest, Mr. Isaac. Hey, sir, how are you? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? You're on mute if you... 1 second, guys. Let's see if he's going to come back here. So yes, so thank you guys for joining. Again, he's back. Can you hear me? Isaac, are you there? You're probably on mute. You got to unmute yourself.
No, I'm mute. I'm not.
I can hear you now.
Yeah.
All right. How are you?
I'm fine, man. Prince, it's good to connect.
Awesome. And then for those of you watching, typically we're supposed to come on at 5 p.m. GMT, but we've had some technical issues. So that's the reason for the delay. So we do apologize for that. If you were waiting for us to be on time and we weren't, that's 100% our fault. So thank you for joining. And to you, Isaac, the quote by John F. Kennedy is actually my favorite quote. Ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. So much so, it's been the only thing in my social media bio ever since I started using social media. That's how much is my favorite quote. But tell us, what does it mean to you, and why is it important for Liberians to embody that quote?
I mean, it means everything to me. And maybe because one, I'm a development worker. And so I know the power of how collective effort can lead to fast national development. And so I'm just convinced from childhood, or I've just been convinced from childhood, that if we can take individual responsibilities as a country and not thinking that the country leadership, political leadership, is the way for national development, then I think we'll move forward. So every time I look at that code, it just re-energizes me that it's important for us to take on national leadership by ourselves in different ways. It could start at the community level, and yeah, it just means speedy development for me.
That's awesome. Thank you, my man. And then, your experiences, you and I, we've talked, and the conversations we've had, you have a huge past, a past that is very relatable, but at the same time, your story is very unique as well. You've always been a proponent of education throughout your life. You yourself were also a valedictorian several times in your high school career, graduated as such. What would you say allowed you to overcome the challenges that you experienced as you were growing up in order to be where you are today?
I mean, I think first and foremost is to just say, Prince, self-discovery has been a powerful means of my joining, or a powerful determination of my joining. And because I'm one of those people who developed at a very young age. I remember being 14 years old and just discovering myself. And that discovery was tied around who am I, what do I want to be, or who do I want to be, and how can I be that person. So self-discovery was a very key part of that joining, but also determination and courage, because there were serious times that I could back off and say, I'm done with this thing. But I said, you know what, I should keep pushing forward, because if I reach the point of self-discovery where I now realize what I want, who am I, what I want, and how to achieve it, then there should be nothing that should stop me. I just want to go, in addition to say what was said by one of the scholars on your last show, that the motivation itself has been a destination of success. You know that success is ahead, and you know that success won't come easily. It will require extra work, and that extra work will require determination and perseverance. So yeah, it's just all been about perseverance and determination. But you said it right when you said my whole life has been about education. Yes, my whole life has been about education. Those who know me know Isaac will say from his childhood, it's been about education. Almost every work I've done in this country for over 7 years has been tied to education. So yeah, you are never wrong to say education.
Awesome, my man. So you obtained your master's in developmental studies from the University of Pretoria, if I'm saying it correctly. Pretoria?
University of Pretoria.
Pretoria.
I'm completing the studies. I just submitted my final dissertation.
Okay.
But I also got my second degree in development studies.
Got you. So you were there in South Africa going to school, and while you're there, you're able to secure the MasterCard scholarship where they give you a stipend. And a part of the money that they give you as a student was to sustain yourself. But you being the person that you are, and the engagements that you had to send some of that money back to Liberia. Why did you do that, even though you could, you needed that money as a student because you weren't working and so on and so forth? Why would you send some of that money back when you needed it to survive?
I mean, just driven by self-belief and passion of what I believe in or what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So the couple of times the work we do are not being supported by national government or local organizations, especially maybe because we're not thinking our priority as a government. So you need to go extra mile to ensure that your passion for what you want to achieve is being achieved, and that will mean to some of us going the extra mile and even deep into my personal pocket. It's not just with the last year example. Currently, we planning the National Excellence Award Program, and I have receipts in my possession. I think I sent you the award that I want to give the kids. But I
Mm-hmm.
have receipts in my possession that I've sent the first 50% of funds for printing the awards in China, and that 50% is money coming from my salary. I could have done something different with my salary and say, you know what, yeah, this is my salary. I have a family. I have a life, man. But I said no. I would take four. I think it was 470 plus $40 for the sending fees,
Mm-hmm.
and we send it to China. So that's just to say the passion that goes with the work we do, and for us, we'll go beyond boundaries. I mean, part of the reason why this passion is something that is driving me and the team is because we've been in the shoes of these students, and I know as we go along the show, we have the chance to talk about what the work we do more. But
Right.
we've been there before, and we know what it meant to be a valedictorian and being given an umbrella on your day of graduation as a motivation. So for me and my team, our goal is to just push a little more so that some of us who were in school in the 2010, 2011, 28, 29, where when nectars are removed from your neck, you will feel angry because it's a model of shame. Unlike now, where when nectars are removed from the kid's neck, they are proud to say, thank you for removing this nectar because it was causing a lot of heat for me. So those two examples will tell you that
Mm-hmm.
at one point they were proud in being academically excellent because at our time in high school, when you have a one red, they remove your tie. It means among your friends in the Liberian man we will say you dog, right? So no girl won't be with you, no girl want to be your friend, no man want to be
Wow.
closer to you, and stuff like that. Unlike now, they remove the necktie from the kid's neck and they said thank you. So the two different scenarios shows that at our time, everyone was chasing academic competition. There were academic competition in the schools. There were everyone wanting to be the best students as compared to now, where everyone just want to get their 70, man, 70, 75 and middle pass. No one really care about scoring 90,
Right.
And that's why I was sharing the narrative with you that all of 125 students we're working with this year, I think we just have around 27% of them that have excellence. And in the Liberian education system, excellence remains 90 to 100,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a little terrible.
Man, that's a lot of feedback. And honestly, I think with you using your personal funds, not just when you were in South Africa, but also now that you're trying to plan this ceremony, I think that's the practical aspect to the quote that I mentioned earlier, which is your favorite quote as well, saying, ask, not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. Sometimes it sounds great, but what does it look like in practice? Well, it looks like spending your own money in practice, not waiting for somebody to give you money to do the ambitions that you have and to make them a reality. So I think that goes to show, hey, you're really exemplifying this quote in your personal life as well. But something I don't want to miss, and I want you to highlight on, is the story of your umbrella when you receive. You mentioned receiving an umbrella on your graduation day, and people out there do not know the context of that story, but you told me the story, so I want you to share that with them briefly so they can understand why you mentioned that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's important because part of that story is part of the reason why I'm doing the work that I'm doing. in schools like Cara Baptist, where I graduated from in 2011. And by the way, it's not just Cara Baptist. They are currently Convent is doing it. Currently, I think Sotiamon is doing it, and there are a couple of other schools that are doing it. Their final valedictorian for the grade 12 is not determined from your grade 12 marks. It's determined from being a valedictorian of grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12. That means you should be consistently a valedictorian. Now, considering the context that we go to school every academic year for approximately 9 to 10 months, let's conclude and say 10 months. So I went to school for 10 months. That was from 29, because 29, 2010, 2011, I graduated. I was valedictorian of the school. And the school only thought it was important because my graduation was on the 30th of June, 2011. You know, the period of June is a rainy period. So the school decided as valedictorian, the best they could do for me, and that is their model of what motivation is. So their model of motivation is, you know what, let's give this guy something that will make him to always want to be a valedictorian, make him to always want to be the best student. So my perception from a poor background going to that graduation ceremony was the fact that I'm going there to maybe get a scholarship or something to go to university immediately. At the time, I was 17 years old. I was 17 years old at the time when I graduated. So then I went to the graduation and I delivered a powerful speech, and everyone were like, "Oh yeah, he's a smart guy." And then the dean of student, I think dean of student vice principal for academic affairs came to provide a scholarship, not a scholarship, but to provide my gift as the valedictorian. And he came with an umbrella. I mean, truth be told, that was a little annoying that you would give someone an umbrella during the time of a graduation where the student is the valedictorian of the class. And I graduated with 93 average, 93% average.
Not just a valedictorian, but being one for 3 consecutive years.
For 3 consecutive years. As a matter of fact, I even almost contested as student council president, but then one of my colleagues now won the election, but I was still the president of the graduating class. Now, president of the graduating class, different from being president of the council. The graduating class, we had 3 graduating classes. We had 12-1, we had 12-2, we had 12-3. I'm also a member of the debate team. So that to just say, I was not just a valedictorian and a math student, I was a leader in my school. And you give me an umbrella as valedictorian, a means of motivation. Now, when we place that in the context of social entertainment programs, that we, every time I say that, I like to always make mention that we are not, we're not saying that social entertainment programs shouldn't be, people shouldn't celebrate the winners. My point is, in my context, where I receive an umbrella, and there's a girl who spent maybe 2 months, 3 months to be a beauty queen of the same district my school is in, and you give that girl a car, you give that girl a trip to go to Ghana or to go to Dubai, and you give me as a valedictorian an umbrella. The moral of the story is, you know what? Don't waste your time with education. You won't have a breakthrough early. Go into entertainment. So that has been a motivation since 2011. And I said to myself, and I mean, the other unfortunate thing, Prince, is though I graduated at 17, I could only go to school at 21. And the reason, not because I was not a brilliant student, but because my parents could not afford it. So I had to start to work on my own. I remember at the time, we were still using B-Bear water. There were no, the mineral water now. There was nothing like that. We were still using B-Bear water. So there was a place down 16th Street where you pass the Glorious Moses Cart house where she lived before. There was a fence there, a colleague of mine who we still see each other nowadays. His name is Martin Domo. We used to go there and lock it, tower, be there, and receive our labor. So I had to work for those kind of 3 years and prepare myself for university. So the end of the day now is, how do I give back? You have this story, but this story still persists up to now. There are kids that are graduating from high school, but their parents are poor. They are the valedictorian, they are best students, best quiz or whatever. They won't go to school. Simply because their parents cannot afford. I shared some of the statistics with you, which we will go in more. Last year when we did the program, the girl with the highest average, she was from Weston High School, from 7 counties. She had, I think, around 97.4. She's currently in Wallace Market selling. She's selling ticket glasses. Currently in Wallace. The youngest student from the 7 counties we worked in last year that got the award, her name is Chris Norrins. Chris Norrins was 14 years old when she graduated. Chris, she told me, Brother Isaac, I want to be a neurosurgeon. But Chris is now just enrolled at AME because it's like her parents, like, you know what, Chris, if we wait for the neurosurgeon thing, you won't go to school. So let's just put you there, you go just be doing your late nursing, you know? So yeah, that's part of the work we do, and that's how motivated we are. The essence is, how do we change the narrative on these bright students across the country? How can we have a country with all a scholars network? Liberia is one of the few countries that we don't have a scholars network. Where today, for example, if America say, send us 10 students in 4 hours who want to be neurosurgeons, we don't have that hub where we can go and say, you know what, we have these students, we have their data, we have their information, we know they have the proven track records of excellence.
Right.
We don't have that in our society. So what we'll do, we'll throw out an application again. In fact, maybe we'll write the US and say, you know what, we can produce that list in 4 hours, but give us 3 days. Worst case scenario, if we can find those deserving people who are in the systems will start to put their friends, their relatives, you know, their loved ones, and people who don't deserve those, you know, opportunities on those opportunities. At the end of the day, then we wonder, why is it we have a country where in the 21st century, with all of the scholarships that are around the country and going around, people going to China, people going to Morocco and stuff, places like Lofa, there's still no teacher. And I was just chatting with one of my colleagues from the Ministry of Education. I was telling him, what is the program that we have in place as a country where you give scholarship to a student from Liberia to go to China? It's a government scholarship. But then when the student come back to Liberia, there's no way to integrate the student in the system so that the students can be able to give back to the system, and that system can be able to benefit so that other students also can know that they owe the responsibility to the country. And that's where the whole thing about what can I give back to my country? That's where it comes from.
Continuity, my man. And that's something that we struggle as a country. We struggle with, to set up systems that, you know, will continue after, you know, even when we're gone. But anyways, I think you talked a lot about, you know, leaving your footprint and so on. And one of the things that I want to focus on is many Liberians are always asking for opportunities to leave the country. Whether it's because they just graduated and need to go to school, whether it's because they just got, you know, they feel like they just need to leave the country. Whatever the reason is, these people just want to leave Liberia, and they're very desperate for why they want to leave. But the thing that you will not find is that the number of people that are willing to return. So leaving is one thing, right? But if you're willing to return, it's perfectly understandable. If you're trying to leave because you want to better yourself, to come back to your country and give back, is understandable. Now, contrary to that, a man like you was privileged to leave, get an education where you could have stayed in a different country, make, you know, quote unquote, more money. But why did you decide to return to Liberia? Why is it important for you to be in Liberia working and applying the things that you've learned outside?
I mean, this is important. And part of what I want to say, as you know, a way to respond to that is to firstly say the scholarship that I went on was never a government scholarship. So I'm saying that to say I was not obligated to return. I was not obligated to return. I returned on the basis of what I want to do, what kind of change I want to make. So I got the scholarship. First scholarship I got to leave this country was in 2020, when I was the first Liberian to receive the Mandela Rose Foundation scholarship to go to South Africa. That's the Mandela Rose Foundation scholarship, where the goal is to be able to gather the brightest young people across the continent and teach them models around leadership, reconciliation, entrepreneurship, you know, and those kinds of different models, and give them the right opportunities in terms of education to empower themselves and come back to their country and be able to serve. Again, I had the opportunity to stay in South Africa, but I also had the opportunity to come back to Liberia. And because I'm passionate about how can we all contribute towards improving education, which I'm passionate about in Liberia, I decided to return. Last year, I was not in Liberia when my team conducted the first edition of the Liberia National Academic Excellence Award. I could say, you know what, I'm in South Africa, no need to return, and X, Y, Z. But then I decided to come back to Liberia because I'm convinced that it's highly possible that with my presence here, my organization and my team can make a massive impact because it's tied around leadership, it's tied around your vision as a person. Remember, Prince, there's no one who can implement your vision better than yourself. So
Amen.
staying a distance away from how passionate you are about this, how you feel about this, how you understand the vision, and how you can draft people along with it is very important. And I just concluded that look, I couldn't do this while away. I needed to come back. When I came back, a lot of my friends they asked me, but I said, "Why did you come back? You had the
So you
opportunity to
drunk? They can
stay."
ask you, you drunk? Something wrong with you?
That's the question. That's the question. Something wrong. Something wrong with you? You mean you left everything in South Africa and you came? And look, the first scholarship, just to say, the first scholarship that I went on, I received. Well, anyways, let me say because just for the record, I received 5,600 every 5 months. So imagine I had the opportunity to stay in Pretoria, and I have a colleague who was in my class who is now the program officer for the Mandela Rose Foundation. There was the application thrown out, and the application was so easy to the extent they never wanted a South African. They wanted a non-South African, and they just wanted someone with proven records of service. I could have jumped at it and say, you know what, let me apply and just stay here, and whatever goes on in Liberia, let them do their Liberia thing, and I don't care.
Right.
But I decided, you know what, let me go back to Liberia, especially around the time where you have a lot of things going on. You have issues of education is a challenge. You have different people in now the political system is providing an opportunity where everyone's going to make promises, you know. So you also concerned about how do you get involved and make a proposal to the government in these elections to say if you genuinely want the interest of this country, these are things that you should look at. That's why you see part of what we're doing is to be able to submit all of the document, all of the data that I sent to you, to submit it to the Ministry of Education. Because a year or two from now, the government that will take over, we are challenging the government. We're challenging everyone that are contesting the elections. We say, you know what? If you're genuine about improving education in this country, one way to do that is to be able to re-inspire academic competition in the classrooms.
Mhm.
The way to do that is to be able to challenge the kids and say, you know what, at the end of the school year, for being the valedictorian of your school, you have a full scholarship. And tell me who won't want to be the valedictorian of their school.
Right.
Also, just ensure, and this take nothing away from the presidency, just ensure that the president, the head of state, just do an official communication and say, for example, you print, dear Prince, on behalf of the Republic of Liberia, as the president of the country, I write to congratulate you as the valedictorian of your school, as the best quizzer, as the best debater of your school. I am so proud of you, and the country is proud of you. Right? Prince, you received that letter from the president. This is the president we're talking about. Let's say you come from places like River G or River Cess or somewhere in the southeast, where it's a faraway place from the capital. You go back to River G, man, your whole shoulder, you walk in the community now, you scholar. Everyone proud of you. Kids in your community, in your schools want to be like you. So that's part of the reason why we came back. We came back to ensure that during these processes, we have our say in showing how we recommend to government. To say, look, government, if you're serious about education, or people in political processes, if you're serious about education, please know these things in your campaign so that we look forward to whoever win the elections and say, can we do these things? Because these things will have the kind of impact and we'll be able to speedily develop our country.
Right. So you yourself, of course, you have been, it's not just your story that you've been a part of. You've also helped other people achieve a part of their goals by recognizing them. That's the first step. Sometimes those same people that your organization has recognized, which we'll talk more about your institution here after the break, but those same people that your institution has recognized, those people have gone on based on some of your recommendations and their association with your organization. They have gone on to do many things, many greater things, and are in positions today where they can give back to society. So what is the feeling like seeing those people succeed and knowing that you had a part to play in that? What is that feeling like for you?
Praise, that feeling is is to say that's the reason I won't stop, right? Because, for example, if I look at people like John Simway in 2017, when I met John Simway, by the way, John graduated from Bethesda Christian Mission School. I met John with the Liberian National Debate Championship, but then I volunteered at Youth for Change, and I helped John, Alex Divine and the organization. And then we left from here, we went to South Africa to represent the country as the national debate team of the country. But then we also recognized John because John was not just the most valuable debater, John was also the valedictorian of his school. So then we recognized John. Fortunately for John, John held a scholarship to go to Morocco. John went to Morocco. John became the president of the Morocco Students Association, and he worked closely with the embassy there. John graduated with his bachelor's degree, and he graduated with honor. John reached out to me. Remember, I was the first Mandela Rhodes Scholar. So John reached out to me and said, Brother Isaac, that Mandela Rhodes Scholarship that you were on in South Africa, can I apply? And I said, yeah, John at it. Fortunately for John, we worked on John's application, and I can say here with it too much proud that Liberia have a student at the number one university on the continent, University of Cape Town. So University of Cape Town, where John is doing international law, I can say it's a proud for me. Just a month ago, Emeka Washington, last year, Emeka told me, Brother Isaac, if anyone told me I will leave the country over the next 1 year, I won't believe it. Because Emeka was just a girl in Nimba County from the Ganta Methodists, and we sent out nomination. Her school nominated her as the valedictorian, and she came to Monrovia. She had her 4 days with our training and our workshop, our leadership workshop and everything. And fortunately for her, she got awarded. After the award ceremony, she reached out to me and said, Brother Isaac, there's a program in South Africa called the ALA, which is the African Leadership Academy. And I said, Emeka, I know about that. Don't tell me what you want. So he said, Brother Isaac, I want to apply. Can you help me? Go ahead. She started her application and she submitted her application. Fortunately, ALA reached out to us, to our organization, and said, this child said she was the valedictorian and recognized for her brilliance by your institution. Can you nominate? Can you, justify that? And I sent them the proof. I sent them her official certificate, her official award, and then I did a nomination for her. Again, we happen to announce that Emeka Washington is currently in South Africa. She just left a month ago. She's in South Africa and she will be in Johannesburg for the next 2 years on the ALA. If she's fortunate, which I know she will be, because she needs to score a certain mark, and then she will be leaving and going to Rwanda to the ALU. That's the ALA and that's the ALU. So then she will be moving from the academy to the African Leadership University in Rwanda. There are a couple of other students that we can name, Arch, the guy who got the Arch Media now,
Archie
Archie was one of the presidents. Yeah. Archie was one of the presidents who I think 2017 or 2016 received our award as valedictorian. We can also point out to, Princess Vanja Colley. Princess is now a talk show host on Freedom FM. Princess is doing an amazing work. There are a couple of them, some of them are volunteer with the organization. Take, for example, Yassa Wesley. Yassa Wesley became the valedictorian of St. Peter Lutheran. Yassa is currently the Alumni Association president of St. Peter Lutheran, and she's doing an amazing work. So there are a couple of them, 2 of our other students from last year, Mabintu Sharif and Louis from, the Dream School system. They both worked on their application, and they were fortunate, They'll be going to the States to go and continue their program, continue their education, continue their studies, and just live their dreams. So part of why it's important, I know someone asked the question before, and I thought to just share on your platform. But Isaac, you said these students don't have scholarship. The money you take in to have the award ceremony, why you can take that money to give them scholarship? So I said, in everything you do, there are models to this implementation. Take, for example, the bridge. There's a project called Bridge to Rwanda. Rwanda and Liberia got almost a similar story. Genocide, Civil War. But then after the genocide and the Civil War, what has been our model of education? all of us know and all of us argue that if all of our countries would develop is developed on the basis of education. But are we really investing into education? So in Rwanda, they launched the Bridge to Rwanda project. The Bridge to Rwanda project was taking the students right from high school, the brightest students right from high school, taking them and sending them all of the country, giving them international opportunities. They're signing up to a government reform. And that government reform is the government is responsible for you. You go 4 years and do your bachelor's degree. You do 2 years master's degree. You come back to the country and you serve the country for a number of years. Our model is we're not just taking the students. We want to create a scenario where students are aware that, look, there's something waiting for you. Because I remember when I was in grade 8.
No, not to cut you off, but when you say our model, you're speaking for your institution, not Liberia as a whole.
No,
correct?
no, not Liberian model. It's our institution model. That's educate the next generation. Our model is we need to create a scenario where kids want to be a valedictorian. That's the students from United Dawa Uma. And he wrote me to say, Brother Isaac, I'm proud to be one of the awardees because last year, a friend of mine received the award and I challenged myself. I told myself that this is unique because I attended the award ceremony. And I said, this is unique. Next year, I will ensure that I be the valedictorian of my school just to receive this recognition. So we're trying to create a scenario where we create visibility for the students before just be saying the scholarship. So that visibility will mean us going to places like Lofa, where we found a young man from the Zoso Central High School who is 15 years old. I'm saying Zoso Central High School because this is not Montserrat where we have a lot of resources here. We're talking Lofa. We're talking Lofa where the road to even get to, Vanchama is a challenge. Right. But yet you have a 15 years old young boy who is a valedictorian of his graduating class. And that young boy told me, Isaac, but I said, I don't know how we go to school, but all I know are valedictorian. We, to just be able to get data around the country. Part of the challenge we face as a country, we lack data. And that's why most of our development agendas are not being supported by data. You have someone from Riverside County who is 29 years old, but still braced the storm and still became the valedictorian of a school from Yakpastan Public School. So those are inspirational stories. Those are inspirational data that we should be able to use now to be able to present to government, and government use those data for changing the story of how they, run their development models. So yeah, those are the different things that are involved in what we do, and we think the way we do it is unique. And yeah, there's no reason why government would not support what we're doing. Unfortunately, Prince, we are not being supported by government.
I understand, my man, and a part of that, it's something that is beyond our control. But I'm very much appreciative of the work that you guys are doing, despite the challenges that you face and all the students that you just list here. It goes to show what impact you guys are making. So even more motivation to keep going, even if the government doesn't want to come on board. Hopefully in the future, when they see how impactful the work is and you have the data to prove, which we're going to go into later on after we take this short break, hopefully they can come on board and say, hey, we're ready now. We understand the vision behind this. We understand the need for why you're approaching education in this way. So we appreciate it. Thanks for sharing those stories. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back. But those of you that are watching, you guys can follow him on Facebook. It's Isaac Muapoh. I'm a little hesitant to say your last name, my man. It's Muapoh, right?
Muapoh.
Awesome. Isaac Muapoh. He's on Facebook, Instagram. You can follow him. And then his organization, Educate the Next Generation, or Next Gen, is also on Facebook and Instagram. So you guys can follow them as well. And, just to get to see what they're doing. But they are the ones who are hosting the award recognition ceremony for high school students across Liberia. So we'll talk more about that once we come back. Stay tuned for now. We'll take a 2-minute break and we'll be right back. Thank you guys for joining.
Hello, my name is Muapoh, founder of Destiny Creative Organization, and owner at Janice Smith. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 Show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 Show, all things like you.
Hi guys, I'm Levine and I'm an independent artist from Liberia, West Africa. And being an independent artist means I get to run my own affairs, sponsor my own music, pick my own release dates. So, not to waste your time, I'm gonna go straight to the point. I'm trying to raise $5,000 to promote 2 songs over a 3-month time span. And I'm asking that you help out in any way you can. One of the songs are playing in the background right now, so that means you're one of the first persons to hear this. The proceedings are not just going to go to the promotion of these songs, it's going to go to helping the underprivileged in any way I can. And everything is going to be filmed and posted on my social media. So please help out. Thank you.
You got something that I need. You bring light to my soul. Nobody does it like I do. You already know. Can't get enough of that.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to the 1847 show. I'm your host, Prince Larmin Jarbo, and this is season 1, episode 16, which is part of our series called Enhancing Education. This series highlights visionaries who are dedicated to solving real-world challenges by leveraging innovative educational solutions. Our guest today is no one else but Mr. Isaac Muapoh, who is the co-founder and director of the administration and strategy at Educate the Next Generation. So stand by here. Our guest just left. I think he's having a little bit of technical issue. But in the meantime, I'm going to showcase some of these comments that we have in the section here. And Minister Thomas recommended it. So typically we do respond. We just try to find a time that is best for everyone. So thank you for giving that feedback by saying to respond to our questions and comments. Of course, we're going to try our best to do that. So in the meantime, if you want to comment, go ahead. We'll bring it on the screen. And then Shirley says, thanks for shining light on the bright minds in our society. Kudos to the team. Thank you as well, Shirley, for commenting. And then we have Flo. Great job, Isaac. Thank you guys for staying engaged. And then Flo again, she said, it hurts a whole lot seeing this kind of brilliant ideas and work being ignored by the government of Liberia. Now, I do agree with what you said, Flo. The government does have a role to play in advancing the interests of the country, especially the education sector. However, I personally don't think that we need to wait for the government to move before we move. And not to say that's what you're saying. It's just, for me, either way, change is going to come. The government can choose to come on board, or the government can choose to stay where they are. But either way, we're going to change our country for the best. So that's my personal belief. And that's why I support those who also share those beliefs, like Mr. Isaac. Smith Emmanuel also commented saying, good job. Thank you for staying, following the show and staying engaged as well. And then Minister Thomas says, does the Ministry of Education follow up on those who got the scholarship after graduation? Do they go according to the MOU signed? Do they go according to the MOU signed before getting the scholarships? So I am not entirely sure about this, but recently from the students that I interviewed the Dukes of the 2023 WAS. So these students are saying that the government is offering them scholarships to study in Turkey, I believe, Turkey or Morocco, one of the two. So, of course, there might be MOU signed, but at the same time, when they said that the government is trying to offer them scholarships, it wasn't for sure. So there is no guarantee with that, which is why they also have their own plan A, plan B, and plan C. So some of them are even thinking about, okay, if this doesn't work out, maybe I need to enroll at the University of Liberia and start my education. Similar to the example that Mr. Isaac provided earlier of people doing other things, because sometimes though the government may promise this, it's not always able to fulfill that. So that's pretty much the situation on hand, and we'll take it a case by case. But again, the government is great. The government should help. But the government, if they don't help, we're going to do what we need to do in the best interest of our country. So thank you for staying engaged. We're still waiting on our guest to return here. Hopefully he does. But in the meantime, we'll take a short break and I'll check on him. But stay tuned, guys.
Hello, my name is Muapoh, founder of Destiny Creative Organization, and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847 show, all things Liberian.
Hi guys, I'm Levine and I'm an independent artist from Liberia, West Africa. And being an independent artist means I get to run my own affairs, sponsor my own music, pick my own release dates. So, not to waste your time, I'm gonna go straight to the point. I'm trying to raise $5,000 to promote 2 songs over a 3-month time span. And I'm asking that you help out in any way you can. One of the songs are playing in the background right now, so that means you're one of the first persons to hear this. The proceedings are not just going to go to the promotion of these songs, it's going to go to helping the underprivileged in any way I can. And everything is going to be filmed and posted on my social media. So please help out. Thank you.
You got something that I need, babe. You bring light to my soul. Nobody does it like I do. You already know. Can't get enough of that.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining back. We had a little bit of technical issue. However, our guest is joining right now. So once he does, I will bring him to the screen. Now, for those of you that are watching, if you're not following the 1847 show, come on, my man or my woman. Are you really Liberian if you're not following the show? But please do us a favor. Respectfully, please follow the show. We have a lot of great content for you guys. We love Liberia. We want to share it with you. We know you love Liberia. Even if you don't think about it every day, we know you do. That's why you see all this red, white, and blue. We're trying to bleed Liberia every day for you. So please follow the show. We have a lot of great things to share with you. And follow the 1847 show, and we'll be right there to show you all those amazing things that people in and outside of Liberia are doing. So we have our guest back here. I'll bring him to the screen. 1 second. All right. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So tell us about the Liberian National Academic Excellence Award, which is a flagship project of Educate the Next Generation.
Oh yeah, Prince. Yeah, I just trying to connect. We started from the whole background of why I got inspired to do this, and that inspiration led to the National Academic Excellence Awards program. So for those who just joined in, the whole idea of students who are very brilliant but have absolutely no support in this country is the reason why we're doing what we're doing. And we're also just trying to re-inspire competition in schools, like during the olden days before the war, when you listen to some of our parents and big brothers or sisters, they would tell you that there was a structure of sitting in classes. So those you see seated at the front row of the classes, you know, there were people who are the bright students, and those in the back, there were people who are not the bright students. So in our new, post-war elections, post-war Liberia, we have a scenario now where people just sit anywhere and people sit anywhere and do anything in the classroom. So our model is we're challenging to show that there are bright students in this country, and their brilliance just need to be recognized and celebrated. And that would be a great way of improving how students respond to classes and students respond to things that are happening around them. So we're doing the National Academic Excellence Award. Like you said, is a flagship program of the Liberian Educate the Next Generation. And that flagship program is just to re-inspire competition in schools. So we do this every year. We started doing this since 2015. In 2015, we started with only Montserrat. I think we started with either 10 or 17 high schools, and we did it. But then we started receiving a lot of interest. I remember 2 days, I think 2 days or so before the program, many schools started calling, and some of them even started challenging that we, we're only interested in certain schools. And we told them no, the selection process will on. But again, we never had the needed resources to take all of the schools at once, right? So then we decided the second year and the third year to expand. But then 2 gap years we had because of lack of resources. I think 2019 we didn't do it 2019, we didn't do it 2020. And the reason why we didn't do it is because we never had the support. But I remember a couple of schools started to send me emails and saying, oh, we were selective, we celebrated other students, and now it is their term. I mean, a lot of students, now it is their term, and we're not celebrating them, we're not honoring them. Then I called the team back together and said, I think we're missing out on something. So can we go back and redo this thing? A lot of people are interested in this. And if it means we would take our pocket money to have the event, let's do it. Fortunately for me, 2020, I left the country and then I went to South Africa. While in South Africa, started to get small funding, my pocket money, and started to send it back. So in 2021, when we resumed the program, there was one debate that came up. That one debate was, we're talking, you're doing excellence program or you're doing an award ceremony, but you're only doing it for valedictorian. What becomes of the students who are the best debaters? What becomes of the ones who are the poets in the high schools? Best quizzers, best essayists, the best students in wax. What becomes of them? So then we say, okay, because but then the program was called the Liberia National, they were called the Liberia Valedictorian Ceremony. So dealing with only valedictorian. So last year, we said, okay, considering that all of these suggestions make sense, let's expand and let's call it the National Academic Excellence Award. Now, that National Academic Excellence Award will mean that we including we're having not just the valedictorian now, but we're including best quizzers, best debaters. So last year we had 8 categories, and this year we push it up to 9 categories. We just included the best high school visual artists, and I can tell you, Prince, if this young man take a pencil and a sheet and sketch for you, well, Prince, you will be seated where you seated, and he will sketch you, and he will give it to you, and you will be like, man, where are you from? And I think he just got promoted to grade 12,
Mm-hmm.
So there are amazing, brilliant, and smart students in our schools. but they lack the needed support. They lack needed, resources to grow. Normally, when I'm sharing why we do, this thing that we're doing, I just like to give an example. I know I've given the example with the beauty pageant, where all of the beauty contests now across the country, which is not a bad thing, by the way. All of them now, they receive a car and they receive some of them receive a trip to Ghana and stuff like that. My argument, my institution argument is not to say give these kids car, because the first thing, they are kids. They don't even have gasoline to put in it. But my point is, if you can give cars to those people, which they deserve because they perform and they put in their time and they put in their resources, there's another group of people who put in their time and their resources and burn candles.
Right.
Give them the same opportunity. All we're asking you is to give them at least a full scholarship. It will shock you when I had a conversation with Penetta Davis. Penetta Davis is the current deuce of the medical school, Prince. And she was like, Isaac, I asked, what is in being the deuce of the medical school? And there's nothing in it. Imagine the deuce of the medical school of the country. There's nothing in, not even a computer to say as the deuce. I'm telling you, Prince, to say as the deuce of the medical school, you have a computer. And this is the same with the deuce of the law school. People don't, we don't celebrate academic excellence in this country, and it's a problem. And so we took the challenge and say, if, for example, B Brother Library or B Brabi Library, right?
B Brabi.
Last year, the prices, the winner walked away with, I think, a 3-bedroom house, and I think some other stuff that I'm not ready to show off. The same with the, MTN is doing one program now. They call it MTN Yellow Star. The Yellow Star project, I think now the winner will be taking $300,000 Liberian dollars. A car, a brand new car, a record deal, and stuff like that. Those things are good. It motivates people who in those areas to want to get involved and go the extra mile to do their best. Why are we not doing the same for education? Why? Why will a 17-year-old girl do wax, for example, and there's no direction of a full scholarship to that child? Are we missing something as a country in terms of our priority? So for us at ETM, we think we are missing on something, and that thing is education. We're not investing a lot more in how do we create more competition in schools and get the best out of our students, without making the students so relaxed and just satisfied with getting their little 70 or the little 80 or whatever. And it's a little terrible. So we're doing the Excellence Awards program. By the way, the program is different from other programs.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, from other awards ceremony. There are a couple of award ceremony where you get nominated and you must send SMS, you must send 50 or 100 SMS, and one SMS is 50 cents or 30 cents. No, we don't do that. The only thing a student need to do is to be the valedictorian of their school, to be the best in their school, to be the best quizzer, to be the best debater. That is the only price you have to pay. Once you excel to that position, automatically you get nominated in the Excellence Award program. Now, because you get nominated in the Excellence Awards program doesn't mean you automatically get awarded.
Mm-hmm.
So there are stages of the program. So we do the nomination stage where you get nominated. We receive your nomination. Oh, Prince is the valedictorian of this school X. Sorry, I keep using your name as an example, Prince.
No problem, my man. I've never been a valedictorian in my life before, but I feel honored.
Prince is the valedictorian of Fort Maiden High School.
Wait, why did you use Fort Maiden? Is it because you know that I went there?
Of course.
Okay. That's good. Go ahead.
So Prince is the valedictorian. Prince get nominated. Automatically, Prince is not an award recipient. So we know there are a couple of things happening in education. We still have bribery in schools, which is a major challenge. So we don't just receive a child who get 90 or 80 or 85 and automatically you become an award recipient.
And that was my next question, which I just want to state it before you go ahead and explain. So pretty much your organization is just not in the business of recognizing people. And what I mean by that is just whatever whatever people get nominated to your institutions or submitted to your institution, you just don't give them awards. You go to the extent of making sure that they're actually deserving of those awards. And one of the story that you explained to me was a principal or school, the valedictorian of that school, her father was the principal. And, when you received the nomination for her, you started to look into her files. You got concerned that, hey, why was she nominated? Is it because her father is the principal and, is he giving his daughters these grades because he feel like she could get an opportunity from it? So those were your concerns. And then your institution went even deeper into that to make sure that she was truly indeed qualified and that those grades were truly her grades that she earned. And you were able to establish the fact that, yes, this person is indeed deserving of this nomination and she qualified for it. So what other measures do you put in place to ensure that your awards are just not given to people who are great on paper, but to people who are actually deserving of it?
I mean, that's the point, because it is academic, so we try to make it a much more different from just the regular award. So we go more deeper in assessing the ability of these students and just reaching a point where when I send a student to you and say this student is the valedictorian of this school or this student is an award recipient, Prince, I am sure of that student. You had two of them on your show. I think 4 days ago. Those students show to you that they deserve the award they will be receiving.
Absolutely.
But not just them. Wait till you listen to the most eloquent speaker from my Gibi, who is just 16 years old, and she's the most eloquent debater in the country. Wait till you have Motia Reeves, who is the best mathematician in the country. He's 15 years old.
I would like to interview her. I'm always intrigued by people like that. I would like to interview her on the platform.
I can share their information with you, and you can have them on your show. Get Motia Reeves on your show. Get Xavier on your show, the best English student in the country. And they're all high school students. Motia is a student of JJ Roberts, right? So now when we receive this nomination, we go further to say, let's ask the question, do you really deserve it? So we structured an entire interview panel. Good for us. Last year, I had a friend in the country from Oxford who was in Liberia doing her research on security reform in Liberia. So I invited her to the panel and said, come and help interview these students. Few of the students she interviewed, specifically the valedictorian from Don Bosco High School, Don Bosco Technical High School on 8th Street. She told me, she said, Isaac, can I mentor that child? She said, Isaac, can I mentor that child? I'm like, why do you want to mentor him? He's just 16. And she's like, that child is extremely brilliant. I was on the phone, Prince. I was on the phone with Voice of Firestone. And I had Clara Grant, who is the most eloquent speaker from the Firestone High School. Mm-hmm. She was on the phone. I had the interview in my office. My boss man listened to the interview and he was like, can I have lunch with her? I'm like, she's in my Gibi, she's not in Montserrat.
Right.
So that is the point at which we evaluate the students. So we receive the nomination, we put you through the interview process. And so this year we have over 300 nominees from across the entire country, because this year we are ambitious about what we do. We have a clear vision, we have a clear plan, we have the manpower to get this work done. We lack the financial resources, which is a challenge yet, but yet we're going and we're spending our own money to make this work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of the over 300 students that were nominated, we did the first selection, we did the first evaluation, and over 100 didn't make it. And we did the second nomination that included over 200 high school students, and we selected the best 125 students. So the best 125 students, I can share their information with you. You can get any of them on your show, and you will realize, you see the data are there. Mm-hmm. Their ages, their average, their sex, the countries they are from, their career ambition, and all of those things. You see some of them.
Yeah, and that's what I want us to go over now. And one of the things that attracted me to the work that you do, my man, I'm data driven. I'm very much about statistics. And I understand, just exactly like you said, our country does not believe in the science of collecting data. We don't make decisions, informed decisions based off of data and what is actually happening, right? We make decisions based off of what we hear, how we feel, and what we think is right. And that most times is not effective. So your institution is pro data. You collect a lot of statistics, and some of it we have here. So these are the students. I believe these are the list of the 125 students, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so these are the students that you're going to be recognizing, and you have a program scheduled for the 30th of this month, which we'll talk about because you have some challenges as well. We'll talk about that. But I want you to tell us what goes behind the collection of this data, just briefly.
Yeah. So, I mean, the ideal is not to just award students. The ideal is how do we identify gaps in education or gaps in our country and make recommendation to how to solve them. So take, for example, there's one of the data that's been analyzed that talk about over 75% of high school students that are graduating from in this country. They don't have any experience, any service to their community. Wow. They have never given back to their community, even if it is cleaning up campaigns, study class, nothing. All they do, they go to school, they score the grades, and yeah, that's all for them. That's a challenge. The reason why that's a challenge, I did development studies, right? And I know that community development is the fastest way to national development. If you hear there's an argument where, oh, in Ghana, you hear that from Liberians. Oh, in Ghana is developed because Ghanaians take on development initiatives by themselves. Now, the scenario in Liberia, you have a member of parliament or a government official, for example, who live in a specific community. The road leading to that government official's house, the road is extremely deplorable. But that official says, because he or she paid taxes, so government must be the one to come and fix that road. Our point is, you also are government, because government is not just the people you think you elect. That's why I say government is for the people, by the people, right? So you can't come and say that you can make an intervention on that road simply because, quote unquote, you are not a member of the government. Now, this is the root of what is that. If you have students who don't have a track record of community service, they will grow up realizing or thinking that I don't need to do anything. I just need to score my grades, right? We try to change that mentality to say, no, you as a valedictorian, you can go to your community and organize study class for the kids in the community. You as a valedictorian, you can go to your community if the youth chair or the youth leadership is not doing something, organize at least a community quiz program, a community spelling program, cleaning up campaign. Give back to your community in meaningful ways. Because if you do that, you are improving speed development. Another very rare data that we share with you, last year we had over 80% of students graduating from 7 counties that never knew anything they call email in the 21st century.
Wow.
This year, we have over 68% of the students that are graduated from across the entire country. Prince, imagine someone who is a valedictorian, is a high school graduate, is around 16 to 18 years old, and you call them and tell them, Prince, hello, can you please send me your email? You went through the interview and we need to send you the interview result. And they say, where did they got email? In the Liberian way, right? Where did they got email? You say email, yeah. I mean, you're trying to explain what email is. And you say you got to get email. And they say, no, send it to my Facebook. We said, no, when I was sending it, they say, oh, but brother, I said my email and my telephone number. I said, no, your email can be. So it's just terrible, right? Some of them who know what email is, so some of them know what email is, but they don't know how to use it. They've never used it before. They've never received email on it before. They've never forwarded mail before. They've never replied to mail before. They've never downloaded any attachment before. It's a terrible, terrible statistics.
Yeah,
because
and
most
those are
of
good
these students,
Go
most
ahead.
of these students, Prince, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Most of these students, if you see the data that we share, most of them want to do international studies, because imagine someone, majority of them want to be neurosurgeon, plastic surgeon, electrical engineer. Someone want to be a marine engineer. There's so many big expectations they have. But remember, just 2 years, I think 2, 3 years ago, we had the situation with the Ebola crisis, where the entire in-person learning had to shut down. Everything moved online. So by extension, these students who are graduating, over 70% of them will also shut down because they don't know nothing about email. They don't have access to computer. They've never done anything related to email before.
Yeah,
And it's a challenge.
how do you even apply for opportunities if you do not know what an email is? Even if you're the
That's
smartest person, you cannot even do that. So yeah, a lot of the data and statistics that you guys have are really revealing data, and I think there's a lot of work to be done. And part of the reason why during our conversation, I am personally open to the idea when we interview the Dukes of the WASP, we told them, hey, we have an opportunity for you to intern with Project Change, another nonprofit that works in Liberia, to build some of these skills. Because when you're at Project Change, it's like you have a job, it's an office job. You're going to learn what an email is. You're going to have your own email. You're going to send emails. You're going to be expected to do a whole lot of things that by the time you become an adult ready to enter the workforce, you have all these important skills that you can add to yourself. But we're running a little short on time now. But what I want you to talk a little bit about is your program that you had scheduled for this coming Saturday, September 30th, which possibly could be postponed just due to other financial issues. So if you can talk about it, and what would it require you if we still want to have the program on Saturday? What do you need to make that happen?
Oh yeah, it's interesting, Prince. I'm at the point where I'm having a deeper conversation with my team and the award recipients. I must say that they are all disappointed so far, and the reason they are disappointed is because the expectation that this is an elections year, and all these politicians making promises at this point will be able to make some meaningful contribution towards making this happen. Unfortunately, we've written almost all of them, and it's not a single. Okay, I just received a call, I think, day before yesterday. Imagine Bomi County, for example. We have 5 students from Bomi County that are coming to Monrovia, and they will be staying here for 4 days. I would say, part of why they're staying here for 4 days as well. So they'll be staying here for 4 days, and they have a budget of just $350 United States dollars. We wrote all of their officials, and it was only Senator Edwin Snow who responded to us and said, what? $350 for 5 students? You're giving the kind of award and you're having the kind of initiative? You know what? I will be responsible for Bomi County. So, Senator Snow, I want to say thank you on this line to say that he covered the bombing scholars' financial responsibilities. But this is just bombing. We have 14 other counties where places like Nima will bring in 7 students to Monrovia, and we just need $700 to bring 7 students. One person in Nima who is maybe an official of the government or business person, private sector or whatever, could say, you know what, that's just 700. I will support the students. Worst case scenario, because that 700, portion of it will go to transportation to bring the students to town. So in a case where they say, you know what, we don't have the money, but we have a car and we will fuel the car and we'll bring the students, that's fine by us as an organization.
Right.
That is fine by us. Another group could say, you know what, you will feed the children on camp, because Prince, we do have a camp for these students. So the students going to come, the goal is they're going to come to town on the 27th, and they're going to remain here till the 30th, which is the award ceremony. So remember, we're bringing together 125 students. Feeding is a challenge. Someone could say, you know what, I gave 2 bags of rice. I gave 3 bags of rice. I gave 1, carton of chicken or whatever to feed these students. Unfortunately, we're at a point where we've now raised up to, I think we have a budget between 5,000 to 8,000 for the entire award ceremony, to print the award, to host the students for 4 days. And the rationale of hosting the students here, when we make the analysis to say over 70% of the students don't have an email, and we just bring them to town and give them a award and allow them go, there's no impact. So the reason they're staying for 4 days and the reason they're staying on camp is to ensure before every one of them leave Montserrat, each one of them will not just have an email, but they will also know how to operate an email effectively. The other thing is we're teaching them community service as well. There's an organization that have already agreed to volunteer, to come and just teach them about community service on the camp.
Mhm.
So we'll also be doing that. There's another organization that is also coming to just teach them about opportunity search. You got your data on your phone, you're a high school graduate, you're on Facebook, and you're not using, Facebook, there's opportunities there, by the way, but
Mhm.
you only care about taking your snap picture, your snap video, and uploading it.
Right.
So someone is coming to talk to them how to search the internet for opportunities, and not just how to search, but how to apply for those opportunities. We're in 2023. We're 2 weeks away from elections. Violence in election is a major concern for young people. So we're getting someone who is from Nemo to also come and just talk about civic leadership, talk about your responsibility as a young person, how to stay away from violence, talk about peace, but also to just network. We want to ensure that if you leave from this academic excellence awards program, you must be impacted in a way that your best friend from this camp, when you see he or she in the next 4 years, you will be proud of this camp. That's
Right.
the goal. It's not just about distributing the awards. It's not about just giving the award. It's about
Right.
how do we impact them and solve some of the problems that they have. And then the
So
final result now would be creating that visibility through the award ceremony, that award night. That night, we want to make that night very powerful. Where our hope is to be able to get all of the political leaders there. We want to hold hands, and the generation of the brightest minds will pour on them. Say, look, our future depends on what you do in the next 2 weeks.
right. So
So
tell me, my
this
man.
will succeed.
Yeah, if somebody is watching and they want to help, whether they're in Liberia, they're overseas, how can they help?
Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't take our account details from the finance person because there's a finance person responsible for finance. I can share that with you later
Do
on.
you want to put
But
your number on the screen so they can call you and then you can
yeah,
redirect them?
yeah,
Because
you can
we
put my
want to
number
put
on the
something here now
screen.
that
You can put my number on the screen. Someone can search for me. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, Isaac Muapoh, just the same name, and I'm on Facebook as well. But you can also just reach out to our institution. Our platform, our Facebook pages are all there. And like I said, we then need between 5 to 8,000 to gather 125 of the brightest minds. Prince, for example,
Mhm,
let's say this is an academic county meet.
mhm.
You know how much people spend on county meets in this country every December for sports activities?
Thousands, hundreds of
Imagine that is
thousands.
the money we need to have this award ceremony and recognize the brightest students across the country. It's not half of a county team budget, but yet we can receive it. But remember now, Prince, they won't tell, and that's the funny thing about it, right? And this is no disrespect to anyone in sports or entertainment.
Mhm,
Normally, they won't tell those people in sports or entertainment you are the future leader, right?
mhm.
Even though those people are also the future leaders, but they will restrict people who are future leaders to these students who are the brightest. Yeah, the speeches they make when they go for this graduation ceremony. You are the future leader. You can be the president of this country. You can be the vice president of this country. You can be a minister or whatever. But how are we contributing as a country
Right.
to
So
ensure these students achieve their dreams?
I have the numbers on the screen there, your number. And pretty much, if you are hearing this and you feel compelled to assist, again, they're having some serious issues with funding. If you feel compelled to help with this in any way, God blesses you. Please call Isaac. That's his number on the screen there. Of course, he's going to redirect you to the appropriate persons that you can talk to from the organization, the finance individual, to be able to make those donations. But this is a real concern. Again, it doesn't always have to be money, like he said. It can also be you offering a car, you offering to buy gas, you offering to buy rice, a bag of rice, a half bag of rice, whatever it is. But there are so many needs. There are so many needs here that everyone to an extent can help. So thank you for sharing that. We're short on time, so I want to give you a few more minutes about 2 minutes here. Add on any last words you want to say, anything that you think needs to be mentioned here before we close out the interview. But for those of you that are watching, please, 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 I'm begging you, please support this. This is a great cause, and if you do, you get to be a part of these students' journey. You do not know. Either way, these students are going to grow to be great. God is giving you an opportunity to be a part of that story, but for you to be able to say, I helped this person get to this place. And that's a privilege. So if you can, please help, please call that number, and he will give you guys directions. But go ahead, Isaac, whatever else you have you want to add before we conclude the interview, the time is yours.
I mean, just to also say the number is also on WhatsApp,
Mm-hmm.
but to appreciate the small team of young people that are volunteering to make this thing happen. That's Ernest Dole, that's Ibrahim Sisse, that's Jacob Kawe, Yassa Wesley. You know, I mean, just a small team, D. Jonah Cooper. We're between 7 persons that are making this work, you know? And I just want to say thank you so much to all of them. Again, I must say that I didn't pay the dime to be on this show. And the reason why is important to say because, you know, people think like when you host these programs, you know, it's about, you know, getting people to pay for it. So it's absolutely free. I just reached out to you and you were so receptive. I must say you're one of the persons that I've reached out to from the diaspora. That it didn't take long, man. I just needed to say hi. And you were like, send it to me. You know, this is on WhatsApp. Text me, you know. I think there are a couple of other people who can do the same. I know the power of the diaspora, and I know that if people really convinced that education is the way to transform this country, we can do that. I've seen in Liberia a couple of times where people take their platform in just an hour or so and raise up to 10, 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the challenge should not be that we just raise this money for politics. Because politics will come, politics will go.
Mm-hmm.
But the generation of young people that you will impart, they're going to be the ones that you point to tomorrow and say, I was part of the story. And I like what you said, that you can be part of a story of young people and say in years to come, the young man you see who is this person today, I did this for him, or I was part of the process that got him or her to achieve their objective. In my conclusion, I just want to just read out a few of the other things, stats that I didn't see. And this is important for gender equality, women empowerment. We're talking women political participation. 2 out of the 3 top performers in WACS this year are females. Let them forget. The most eloquent speaker of this year's debate is a female. Let's don't forget. For counties like bombing, 4 out of 5 students who will be receiving the award are females. In the entire country, across the entire country, the person who accumulated the highest average is also a female. So there are many females that are graduating from high school and they are doing exceptionally well. We're talking gender equality, we're talking women empowerment, we're talking girls education. And they say when you educate a girl child, you educate a whole nation. This is the best platform to find the most brilliant girls' children. The men are also brilliant though. But in case you're looking for female that are brilliant and you want to support, we are open to partnership, we are open to sponsorship, we are open to whatever link it is that we can be able to work together. So I just want to say thank you, Prince. I want to say thank you. And in the next few days, between now to Monday, we'll make a decision if we raise the needed resources to have the project this year. But what I can assure you, Prince, whether we raise the resources between now to Monday, because the students should be coming to town on Wednesday. Whether we raise the resources or not, we will have this program this year.
Amen.
No matter what.
Amen.
We will have it as we've done before. If it will mean that we have to, use our next 2 months' salary to ensure that these students are recognized, they are celebrated, they are shown to the world, we will do that. Because we can't betray them. We can't afford to betray them. If you were just in the chat room and see the messages that they're sending, brother, I said, when we come in, and I'm like, these kids don't know what's going on, But I want to say thank you. And yeah, like I said in my conclusion, we're open for partnership, we're open for sponsorship, we're open for support, we're open to sharing this data with anyone interested in helping these students. We also open to say we don't have the capacity to do a transition after the award ceremony. So if there are organizations out there that are doing internship work, that are doing different work of support, scholarship, or whatever, we are open to partner with you. Come, let's work together. Let's improve the next generation. Let's prepare them, and let's have a better Liberia. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Isaac. Very great words. Thank you for sharing all the statistics, sharing your story and that of the students. Very honored to have you on the show. Again, apologies for the time and everything, but we're running a little late at this moment. I have to go on to my next appointment. But thank you, guys. And for those of you, again, who are interested in helping, as you can see, there is a banner at the bottom of the screen, has his number. If you're interested in supporting this program, you can call him and he will give you directions. You can be in or out of Liberia. You can still help. We have mobile money, and we have mobile money works outside of Liberia and it works in Liberia. And then for you, Mr. Isaac, please keep me in touch on what happens with the planning of the program, and then we can take it from there. But thank you, everyone, for watching. This has been the 1847 show. I've been your host, Prince Larmin Jarbo, and this was season 1, episode 16, which is part of our series called Enhancing Education. This series will highlight visionaries who are dedicated to solving real-world challenges by leveraging innovative educational solutions. To watch upcoming episodes, please don't forget to follow our social media channels. Until next time, stay safe and God bless you. God bless Mama Liberia. Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Muapoh, founder of Destiny Charity Organization, and owner at Janice's Snacks. You are watching the 1847 show. The 1847 show celebrates you, me, and all things Liberian. Follow the 1847 show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. The 1847